So we are absolutely delighted to welcome everyone, to welcome LCF students, industry and business leaders, but also designers, partners, and the media are also here this evening. Kering has announced a 5-year partnership with LCF to support sustainable practices and innovation in the fashion industry. Now, this partnership, which is really a first of its kind, will include the development of a specialist curriculum in sustainable design, also an annual Kering Award for Sustainable Fashion, which will include a study grant, and a work placement within a Kering brand, and finally a lecture series held once a year, bringing together business and industry leaders to encourage debate, but also progress in sustainable business. Now, we are using the hashtag for all you Twitterers out there, and it's hashtag, you can see it right there, LCF, little x, Kering, for this evening's event, so please do feel free to use that throughout the evening. So first of all, I'd like to start off by handing the stage over to Frances Corner. Frances has been the head of London College of Fashion since 2005, and then in 2009, she was made Professor of Art and Design Education and has been awarded an OBE for her services to fashion. Frances.
Good evening, everyone. In welcoming François-Henri to the college, I want to take a few minutes to show why the collaboration between the London College of Fashion and Kering is a match that will not only be a unity of complementary strengths, but means together we can lead the way to give fashion a sustainable future. Neither side of this partnership lacks ambition. We want to change the world and possibly save it. This is no empty rhetoric. Looking to the future, we know that we have to take action now. Since the Industrial Revolution, people have had more effect on the atmosphere than it has had on us. In the last 50 years, we have stepped up our use of energy and plundering of the Earth's resources and are now pushing at planetary boundaries. At our peril, we are interfering with a delicate, incredible, life-reliant design system developed over millions of years, unable to predict the scale of devastating effects of our actions on our planet or even on ourselves. We know that we must act and that education has a critical and urgent role to play in the challenges and possibilities of our times. We also know that human ingenuity has no such boundaries and that it's up to us, to those teaching and learning now, to mark a path for our collective futures. Ingenuity needs the space to conceive, develop, and apply its possibilities in considered ways. The university environment creates the conditions for critical thought, informed decision-making, and cross-pollination of ideas. Education is vital in order to develop the skills, mindsets, and focus needed to make appropriate, creative decisions that will develop the abilities to change culture, economy, and society. At its best, fashion is a means to connect, create, and fulfill, individually, economically, and culturally. We see this vividly through the designing, making, and communicating of distinctions and connections of fashion. Providing livelihoods for millions of women, fashion has the ability to create independence. Yet, at its worst, fashion takes away dignity, freedom, safety, and well-being. As fashion educators, it is our ambition and duty to prepare students to be contributors to all that fashion might be, not just to its negative elements. The ethos that underpins our approach, practices, and creative ventures is based on the contribution that fashion can make to individual lives, to communities, and our wider cultures and societies. Our ambition as a leading educator for fashion, as part of Europe's largest specialist arts and design university, is to ground our curriculum, research, and outreach in fashioning the future through sustainability principles such as holism, empathy, and resilience, using a range of ecological and social design methods. We understood that this meant far more than hoping our students would put their skills and talent to good use. So we established the Centre for Sustainable Fashion to offer vital leadership and commitment to society now and in the future, thereby creating a new starting point for fashion. The Centre's creative quest involves questioning our current ways of seeing, knowing, and doing, to explore the possibilities for fashion through a sustainability lens. We have worked hard, some might say struggled, to match the Centre's clear and bold purpose of dealing with the ecological and social impact of resourcing fashion, while honouring the complexity of fashion's artistic and business practices. I came to this college because I believe that fashion is a delightful and vital part of our lives in both the pleasure and identity that clothes gives us. I do not want to make fashion dull, far from it. The very point is to encourage innovative and creative thinking. In developing new ideas about fashion and sustainability, the Centre finds itself in a network of the leading idea makers of the world, from locations across the globe and across disciplines, working with a plethora of organisations, governments, media creators and product makers. Led by Professor Dilys Williams, the Centre for Sustainable Fashion starts where it counts, in developing new ideas about what it means to be alive here and now, and to develop ways to represent ourselves individually and collectively so that we can thrive in the world. Importantly for the college, these ideas permeate across our courses and practices so that we can offer each student here the opportunity to learn about sustainability and so engage new thinking in a range of ways. Collaboration is vital to our work, so we are delighted to partner a visionary, world-leading and hugely inspirational organisation. Our students and graduates aspire to practice their professional skills in environments that can empower their imagination. They want their future employers to act with sustainability and integrity. The far-sightedness of Kering is far from usual in business. Their distinction is not only in a vision and commitment to a systems view of life as a basis of prosperity, but also in its ability to shape sustainability in distinctive ways across its brands. This demonstrates leadership in business, in the arts, in society, and for our times. This partnership will offer unique learning outcomes for both of us. We are proud that the leading experts in fashion and sustainability in this creative business, Kering, and the leading researchers and tutors in design for sustainability, ourselves, are coming together to influence the world's leading creative and conscious minds, our students. For our future lies with them. This partnership is a critical opportunity to shape and respond to the real context of our times. Its legacy will be in the creativity that conceives and realises the better lives that we can make for ourselves and for our descendants. Together with Kering, we are fashioning the future, a sustainable future. Thank you so much to François-Henri Pinault and everyone at Kering for making it happen. Thank you.
Thank you, Francine, for your words. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I am pleased to be with you tonight to launch the new partnership and curriculum that we are developing with the London College of Fashion. It will help shape the future of sustainable fashion and the whole apparel and accessory industry. Creating sustainable and ethical fashion is a goal we must work together on. We all have a contribution to make as business people, as educators, and as students. Transforming our industry so that it addresses our social and environmental challenges is a formidable task, but is an achievable one. Our collective knowledge, creativity, and dedication must catalyze action for a more equitable and sustainable future. Diminishing resources, loss of biodiversity, and climate change are causing massive disruption. This concerning state of our planet leaves no other choice but to act. I believe that it is essential that we, as businesses, place sustainability at the core of what we do. We should change the systems that no longer benefit our society or the globe. Further, and as Ben Ki-moon has stressed, the search for sustainable solutions is an economic and a moral imperative if we are to create the future we want. Education will play a key role in this over the next few years. We are relying on educational institutions to create global citizens who understand the complexities of today's world. The need to have the skills and the tools to navigate the future of business is an imperative. So sustainability should not be at the margins of our educational system, but integrated into the core of our approach. Nothing is more important than providing the framework to educate and inspire the next generation to act and become the change makers we need. The London College of Fashion is a perfect partner for Kering, since we share the same values and the same principles. As Frances has said, sustainability is a priority at the college, and a foundation is already in place to build on. Kering has supported several education-based programs in recent years, but we wanted to take this to another level to supporting a dedicated curriculum in sustainability and fashion. And I would also add that London has a special significance for Kering, given that our brands, Stella McCartney, Alexander McQueen, and Christopher Kane are all based here. And we have an obligation to support and to contribute to the talent of this city. So as companies like Kering push the frontiers on finding sustainable solutions, we will need talent like you, the students over there, like you to work with us. At Kering, we are looking at the big picture. So it is also our benefit to support emerging talent and empower your imagination in a sustainable way. And on the flip side, having an education in sustainable practices and design will provide you with a competitive edge. We will look to the next generation, to you, for new ideas and solutions to embed sustainability in our products and throughout our supply chains. Your skills and creativity, emerging business, design, and sustainability will be essential to move the industry forward, because the business model of the future must be one that is sustainable. Now, the pursuit of sustainability is not only imperative in the face of our global challenges, it also makes good business sense. There are inherent opportunities in becoming a sustainable business. We have already seen that sustainability creates value in multiple ways. It provides the chance to become more efficient and stimulates innovation in processes and in product development. It also represents long-term differentiation and competitive advantage by providing new business opportunities which, in turn, will create growth. At Kering, we have translated our sustainable vision into an overall strategy, and throughout every areas of our businesses and across all our brands. And to do this, we have set ourselves clear social and environmental targets in order to drive change, and so that we can measure our progress to becoming a more sustainable business. These targets are also based on our pledge to strive for sustainable solutions that not only reduce our negative impact on the environment, but also create a positive outcome for people and for society. We have to develop a tool that shows how we are doing, and it's the environmental profit and loss account. The EP&L, as we call it, enables us to measure and put a monetary value on our environmental footprint across our entire supply chain, right back where we source our raw materials. In short, the EP&L highlights the most important areas to focus on and to find the new solutions where it matters most. It is helping us prepare as a business for potential future risk and resource availability. But let me stress that embedding sustainability is not all science. Designing sustainable sourcing and a sustainable supply chain demands inventiveness to find and develop more viable materials and processes. This means taking an entrepreneurial approach and often collaboration with partners on the ground. Further, you need creativity to design a product that has a lighter footprint. Take, for instance, Stella McCartney. As a leader in sustainable fashion, the brand perfectly demonstrates that creativity is linked to sustainability. On supply chains and sourcing, Stella McCartney's wool from Patagonia is a project that is defining and supporting a holistic approach to the sustainable production of wool. And the same applies to Gucci and Bottega Veneta on heavy metal-free and chrome-free leather tanning. In product design, Gucci's Zero Deforestation handbag or Volcom's 100% organic cotton denim collection are examples of how sustainability can drive change without sacrificing quality and style. In fact, sustainability is one of the facets of the quality we have and we want to have in every product we offer. We are also supporting our brands with sustainable solutions at group level. Our new Materials Innovation Lab, we call it MIL, is a very powerful example. It is based in northern Italy and it has a comprehensive library of sustainable materials. The MIL's technical experts are concentrating on innovation in raw materials, fabric processes, and manufacturing. They are creating tools to support our brand's creativity and vision, and they are helping them to translate these within their unique identities. Also, at group level, we are developing partnerships with our stakeholders all around the world. And of course, as a single company, we cannot do it alone. Collaborating is necessary to build awareness and buy-in to scale up positive initiatives and to drive change across the supply chain. Our Python conservation partnership with the International Trade Center and the International Union for Conservation of Nature is an excellent case of this type of collaboration. The partnership's ambition is to contribute to improving the human treatment of python and sustainability of the trade and to facilitate industry-wide change. I believe fashion and the fashion industry has advantages in meeting our global sustainability challenges because we already have built-in creativity. As you know, fashion is all about reinvention and innovation, whether in terms of raw material we use or the products we make. So we are predisposed to embracing new approaches and being leaders in sustainability. And we need to harness this and use it as a driver of innovation and problem solving. The history of innovation and progress has shown us that we also need to have a broad base of learning. Innovation and progress can be accidental, coming from experimentation to solve another problem, for example. Or it can arrive after years of focused research, and it can sometimes only come from advances in the knowledge of many individuals. In all those various incarnations, innovation certainly cannot come without education and the nurturing of creativity and experimentation. Our partnership with the London College of Fashion will provide the environment and act as an incubator for sustainable innovation and creativity. In fact, we are in a unique position in our industry. We set the trends and aspiration in fashion and design. So we can also and we should set these trends to leave a positive legacy for our world. To the student here with us tonight, we can put this gear in motion, but it will be you who will have to take up this challenge and drive it forward. It will be you who will dictate the terms and become the leaders who need to influence and to define the future outcome of our industry. You represent the future, and you can show us how beauty, design, creativity, innovation, and sustainability can coexist. And let me tell you, my personal hope is that this will be intrinsic to how you work so that fashion and sustainability will become one and the same. Thank you for your attention.
So I'll just start by addressing a couple of specific issues, and I'll start with you, François-Henri. You often say this motto, which is sustainable businesses, and a sustainable business is a smart business. What do you mean by that?
Well, it means that the way we see sustainability is not just a constraint or something you have to fulfill as a company. It's really a field of opportunity if you take sustainability at the very early stage of any business thought that you have. And we've been demonstrating for the last 5 years that it could create value for the planet, of course, for the company and for the shareholders. So it's really an amazing field of opportunity at every level, for people, for the planet, for the companies, for everyone. But you need to think in this way to make it work. So it takes a little bit of thinking, so it makes smart business something more interesting. But it's really the new. I don't think there was any in history of corporation for the early 20th century such an amazing field of opportunity as sustainability. We are just at the really beginning of that. So it's really something, an amazing field of thinking and redefining absolutely everything. And I'm not only talking about the environment, I'm talking also on the social side. As you know, at Kering, we have an ecology side of our sustainability program and a humanity side. And of course, as you've seen in the video, we are very dedicated on the women cause in the group. So both sides are an enormous field of opportunity for any corporations.
And so crucial, of course, to future generations. Francis, what role really can education actually play in addressing the challenges of sustainability within the fashion industry?
I think very much picking up on what François-Henri has said. I mean, in a way, it's all about how we think. And I think one of the things we've all been aware of is that, very often there'll be lots of, primary school children and secondary school really, concerned and passionate about the environment, and then suddenly you come to university and it seems as though you stop. Whereas you have to think about it. The idea that, you come here to study at college, that you're really considering from the outset what it actually means. It's part of your design process, your thinking, your communicating, and your responsibility. And I think that higher education institutions are uniquely placed because some of the solutions that we're going to need to find, obviously, by their very nature, haven't been invented yet or developed. And a lot of those are going to be in the partnerships between disciplines because we're going to have to come together as chemists, as scientists, as physicists, as creatives. It's a whole range of things. For us, we have a philosophy around better lives. It's the idea that fashion can change for the best rather than it being about the negative, and it can create a situation where we do have a better life, and that is our responsibility as a higher education institution.
So after education, of course, how do you, Marie-Claire, you have a difficult job because you're head of sustainability. How do you do that?
So I will say it's really an interesting challenge to begin. So I don't say that it's easy, but it's really an interesting challenge. I will say in my capacity as a Chief Sustainable Officer, I am responsible for handling the overarching sustainability strategy of the group. And above all, when you see the vision by Mr. Pinault, to operationalizing our vision on daily basis. I think, and you understand through the film, that for Kering, transparency, innovation, and pushing the boundaries beyond the traditional approach is something very important for us to be leader in sustainability. That's why I try to lead my team really on daily basis to help and to support the brand to put in place, I will say, the highest standard in sustainable business practices. So to be more operational, I will say, of course, each brand has its own way to become more and more sustainable. But I think that's why it's really very interesting. When you are at the Kering level, as a corporate team, you need to give them framework. So when we are speaking about framework, what does it mean? It's policies, guidelines, technical support, and also working closely with them to be able to identify in the supply chain and also in our own operation where we can have some key actions that we'll be able to implement to reach our targets. Because you see, after the vision, we have our action plan to be able to reach our target for 2016, and there we have a big job to do. To end, I will say two things. What is really interesting when you are at the level of the corporate, you try to develop what we call the caring effect. So we try to identify synergies between brands, and after, about some examples such as energy, transportation, or also something technical linked with waste or water, at the level of the corporate, you can lead the work between the brand and to find a great solution. And we can make the link with the EPNL tool mentioned by Mr. Pinault, so we can see when we make a decision, concretely, what does it mean? And the last thing, that's why this partnership is also very important. When we are working in sustainability, we can say, of course, and my team is really wonderful because it's 15 people, specialists in biodiversity, climate change, change management, etc. But we don't have all the answers. So it's really important to be open and to work closely, I will say, with experts, with NGOs, with university, with different agencies, and to put in place, I will say, a new way also of thinking, to find innovations and to go beyond traditional approach. So you see, there is a lot of work to do, but it's something that we can say it's passionate.
And Dilys, Marie-Claire was really talking there about cooperation and working together. So what makes the Centre for Sustainable Fashion at the London College of Fashion well placed to partner with Kering on these issues?
We work with UK and other governments and NGOs and other organisations, and I think an aspirational business and a range of businesses such as Kering and a university, both talking to the world, to the public, and also talking to governments about what needs to be changed is very important, because culture change also leads to political change, and legislation is involved in all of this. So that's another reason why it's incredibly important. Also, the idea of creating beautiful things, but also creating platforms. Part of this partnership is about us being able to create the means for others to be able to bring new ideas that may otherwise not have seen light. And we all know that, you know, new ideas aren't believed until they're made real. And we hope through the briefing that we're going to have on Friday to students, we start to give a platform to new ideas and to be able to strengthen them. So the whole mentoring system of working with Kering expertise and with our expertise to support students over the academic year so that they start to really question what they're doing and rethink it. We hope that over the next 5 years we start to see new kinds of practice through the student work and also through these talks.
I'd like now to just take a couple of questions from the floor, and I want to start off with some of the students. So I think you're at the back, or there. Do we have any hands up from the students? Don't be shy.
Could you please tell us a bit more about the brands that are taking part in this new partnership and what they will bring to the programme?
Of course, our brand have an important role to play. I will tell you that they will be involved in different ways. I can give you only 2 examples. First, the curriculum we are developing with the LCF will include insight and case study from our brands, to highlighting opportunity linked with sustainability, but also challenge linked with sustainability that an international fashion brand can face. So we think that it's really important. It's also a way for us to help inform the students and give them hands-on information about how business approaches what we can say operational issue and sustainability. So during the curriculum, I can tell you that really, concretely and operationally, we will involve our brands, and also brands with a different size, because it's also important to involve really all the brands. Secondly, and we have already talked a little bit about, when we are speaking about our Kering Award for Sustainable Fashion, every year, winning awards will have the opportunity for the student to have an internship about 2 months in 2 brands. So during this time, it's also very important for us to have, I will say, cross-fertilization between our brands and the students. I will say people in our brands will give us and will give you some advice, some mentoring, some guidance. And we hope from the student side to have, I will say, creativity, ingenuity, to see your skill that you have developed with LCF during your training. And tonight, under the control of François-Henri Pinault, I'm very proud to tell you that for the first year, for the winning and for the students that will win the award for next year, you will have the opportunity to go to Stella McCartney and to go to Alexander McQueen. So I think that it will be so great for you to discover really how it works in our brand, and also to discuss with the sustainability team. You will see.
I'd just like to ask a question for François-Henri Pinault. I understand that sustainability is a personal conviction that you've had for many years. Please, would you be willing to share with us what you're doing in your daily life so make sure you're being as sustainable as possible?
My commitment to sustainability is mostly due to my education and mostly by the women who educate me, my mother and my wife, and still educating me, by the way. So I'm just saying this because I think my first priority as an individual is to educate my children with this sustainable vision of the world and be responsible for their act from the very, very early stage of the childhood. So it's, of course, I do recycling, I drive a hybrid car, of course, I when it's possible, put some solar panels in. I do things like this, like everyone. But more importantly, I try to get involved in the education of my kids through this topic of sustainability. And I try to give, when it's possible, some of my time for some great initiative. And I accepted, it's been a year now, to be part of the B team that has been launched by Richard Branson with a few business leaders worldwide to try to create leadership and to make sure that corporations are following the movement. The idea is that if corporations are taking sustainability, as I was saying, as an opportunity, we can move things much better than any government. So it's really what is at stake. It's not just Kering in his own tech. It's really, and in our program, what we call the leadership facet of our sustainability strategy, it's to try to transmit to our other corporations the same know-how and to share what we do in sustainability. We not intend to keep for us any things that we are developing. The purpose is to be shared. I was talking about the metal-free example. Just for you to know, 3 years ago, this was impossible to make. We had interviews with professionals in the tanning business, with professional chemists from big corporations, big brands in chemistry. The answer was, it's not possible to reach the level of quality you need in luxury without chrome. 3 years later, because we had these teams working with 2 universities at Bottega and Gucci, we found 2 processes to get rid of 100% of heavy metal in tanning. We are already, and you don't know that, 20% of all Gucci leather goods is already produced without any heavy metal, and we intend to push the frontier to 100%, so it's a big, big challenge. And when we'll be ready, we will share our know-how with our competitors. This is what it takes to make people follow us in that field of sustainability.
Do we have another question? Yes, the gentleman there.
Brilliant partnership, excellent, congratulations. My question relates actually to content, actually. I represent the public relations practitioners in London, the Guild of, and we're very focused on enabling social enterprises. Indeed, we're trying to facilitate students at LCF to work with big brands to create content. So while all the great work's happening on products, I'm very curious to know whether you're also interested in considering how you can create sustainable content through your communication, obviously advertising exhibitions, through working potentially with social enterprises or indeed educational partnerships that will create authentic content that also makes an impact. I'm not talking now about the commercials or the beautiful shows, but there's lots of other pieces of communication you could consider using and deploying to be sustainable through the way you communicate as well as through the actual products you make. Thank you.
Yeah, I think that's a really interesting question, and that's why it's important that this work is open to all students across the college, because obviously we have management courses, media-related courses, so the sorts of content that we create is very wide and very varied, and that sense that we have a responsibility to consider all aspects of what we communicate and be responsible within that is really important.
And the curriculum itself will have content that really is shaped around looking at what designers can do, what business strategists can do, and what communicators can do. So we'll be looking at new business practices which can use models that are social design models. We'll also be looking at ecological design models, and we'll be working with the communication students at all aspects of that. So they'll be looking at the stories around how people work, as well as looking at what they're communicating and looking at the values of what they're communicating. So really looking into the ethic behind how business works. So yeah, that's absolutely what the curriculum, that's really why it's so exciting for us as well, because it is looking at those things relationally.
The lady on the 6th row.
I'm wondering if it makes any positive benefit to produce sustainable for the consumers?
It's a very interesting question, but it doesn't enter into our equation. As I said, the way we see business, it's, of course, to do a business, you need a vision, but you also need a vision of how to do your business. It's as important as the first vision. We're not doing sustainability to sell more. Absolutely not. If it's the beginning of the story, this is when you go too far and it's greenwashing and stuff like this. So it's for us to make sure that in transforming the way we do things, we do it in a smart way. And let me take again this example of metal free. We are so proud of that. Less water, 12 hours less in the process of tanning the leather, less energy, less electricity. And of course now the product we're using is cost much, but as we will have the volume, as we will increase the percentage, it will cost the same. So we have found something that was impossible to find at the same cost. I'm not trying to sell more, but at least we have a commitment to be responsible of the way we do things in all our brands. So this is really what counts, not what we will, if we will sell more or not.
Sorry, I'm not sure we can hear you. We only have a couple of questions, so I'll move on to someone else. The gentleman there, I think he has a microphone. Yes, perfect.
I'm just curious about, is it really possible to save the world through industry? Because the fact is people getting more and more in the world, and even we minimize the damage to the world, but the totally damage will increase. So is it really possible?
If the starting point is us thinking about how we live with the world and in the world, I can't see who's asking the question actually, so I'll just talk generally, then ultimately the level of success of this work and broader work is about changing a consumerist mindset from plundering the world to working with the world and in the world and understanding it. We can live a lot better without necessarily using up more stuff. So the quality and value of what we have and really seeing what we have in front of us means actually understanding what is in front of us in different ways. So it's not about the number of people in the world, it's about how we value nature and putting nature and humanity at the centre of our world, and then looking at the ways that commerce can work with that, rather than just looking at a very short-termist view. And I think, again, you know, our work with Kering is about a short and a long-term view. There are some things that we can do now, and there's some things that's about a legacy. And François-Henri talked about his children, and actually, none of us want to set out to do harm. And if we're thinking now about the impact on our children and what the legacy will be of our work, we start to think very differently. So it's about changing cultures and what is acceptable practice. So we hope that through fashion we can change what is acceptable to use and not use in the world.
The population growth, when you see the demand growth, and if you want to tackle this issue, I will say every business, every company has to do that. So the spirit is to say that if we want also to continue to do businesses have to become more efficient and has to become, I will say, really to change the paradigm. So don't think that it's only to have the feeling to solve and to make a better world. It's also something very operational. But what is really important beyond the word is to implement and to be really pragmatic. You don't change the paradigm on one day, but if you want, you are really able, I will say, to have some milestone, and each year you are able really to change the thing, as we mentioned with our tanning process. So don't think that it's something unbelievable, incredible. If you want, you can, but you have also to have a pragmatic action plan. And don't forget that everyone, every citizen can do something. And I think it's really this thing the most important when we are speaking about changing the paradigm. It's also changing the culture and changing the approach.
Just to add something, most of the problems, we never ask ourselves the question if we can do it differently. So just by doing this, we are proving on an everyday basis that you can do things differently in a very smart way for everyone and for the planet. As simple as that. And it's true at the individual level, and it's true at the worldwide level.
Thank you. Unfortunately, we don't really have time for any more questions, I'm sorry, but we're now going to mark this new partnership and also this evening's fantastic event with a signing.